often inversely correlated, but right now we're seeing them rise in tandem. When the dollar begins to break down, you're going to see huge moves in silver. You're going to see huge moves in both precious metals, but I believe that silver is going to outperform gold, as it has been recently. And that is actually what the experts in the bullion industry are telling us as well. This is an article from mining.com, which references the recent LBMA survey, so a survey of bullion market insiders, and their forecast now for 2025 is that gold will be rising to a price of $2,941 per troy ounce, and that silver is going to outperform and rise to a price level of $45 per ounce. Now, that would give you a gold to silver ratio of somewhere around 65, which is significantly lower than where it is at today. Now, I think that this is even a conservative forecast. And if you look at last year's forecast for 2024, these LBMA bullion market experts actually considerably under forecast where the price of the precious metals would be at right now. They're telling us that next year you're going to see gold at $29.41 and silver at $45 an ounce. Then, that might just be the base case, right? We could actually significantly outperform those forecasts. And, I mentioned that when the dollar begins to break down, that is when we are going to see a big move in the precious metals. I think that will likely be the catalyst that will take us to not only new nominal record highs for the precious metals, but possibly even new inflation-adjusted highs. If you take the inflation-adjusted highs for gold, the 1980 high, it's somewhere over $3,000. And then for silver, this is just using the CPI government data, the inflation-adjusted high for silver is somewhere around $200. And so are we going to hit that in 2025? Well, again, I don't know for sure. I don't have a crystal ball. Forecasting is just about what is likely. But if you ask me, when you observe what is occurring around the world geopolitically, global debt levels soaring, I think that those numbers, are certainly within the realm of possibilities. Now let's talk about the dollar and the debt real quick. And this is why I am convinced that at some point here, probably in the relatively near future, we will see a breakdown in the dollar, in the DXY. And that's a value of the dollar relative to other currencies because of the current massive expansion of U.S. government debt. Let's just take a look at the Treasury Department's debt to the penny data here real quick to get an idea of just how quickly this phenomenon is accelerating. If we look at the data from August 30th, so the end of August 30th, 2024, the U.S. national debt outstanding was $35.26 trillion. Now, if we look at the most recent date, which is October 21st, 2024, the number is $35.77 trillion. And what that means is that in less than 2 months, the U.S. national debt has expanded by more than $500 billion, more than $500 billion borrowed in a span of, about 7 weeks. So if you annualize that, what are you looking at? Like a $6 trillion annual deficit? I suspect that this trend, rather than normalizing or slowing down over the coming months and years, this is only going to accelerate. And this is going to have a big impact on the value of the dollar and the perceived safe haven status of the US dollar. And when it becomes clear to investors that ultimately all of this debt can only ever be paid back in devalued fiat currency, you're going to see the bottom fall out of the DXY. And if silver and gold have been rising, silver to the highest level in over a decade and gold to record all-time nominal highs, as the dollar has been increasing, as the DXY has been on the rise, imagine the kind of movements that we are going to see in the silver market when that trend reverses, when the DXY really begins to decline. And that is something that we need to keep an eye on. That, I believe, will be the catalyst for sending gold and silver to new highs. And one of the reasons that I believe silver will really take off when that event occurs, when we begin to see that move in the DXY, is that retail investors may begin to get a clue and get into the precious metals. Thus far,